Stop. Look at that banana in your hand. See that curve? The real reason for that iconic shape isn't just about sunlight and gravity. It's a wild tale of corporate spies, political coups, and a secret war for the world's most popular fruit. That gentle curve wasn't just shaped by nature. It was forged by money, power, and a whole lot of violence. This is the story they don't tell you. This is Mundane Marvels, where the ordinary becomes extraordinary. And today we're asking, why are bananas curved, and what's the hidden story behind it? So you've probably heard the simple answer: bananas are curved because they grow towards the sun. It's a process called negative geotropism, and that's true. But it's like saying World War I started because a guy got shot. It's true, but it's not the whole story. It's not even the most interesting part. Think about it. Apples grow round. Oranges grow round. Even grapes, strawberries, most fruits follow pretty predictable patterns based on gravity. They hang down, they grow outward, whatever. But bananas, they grow upward and curve. That doesn't make sense at first. Most people never think about this. We just grab bananas at the store, peel them, eat them, done. But once you start noticing this curve, you can't stop seeing it. Every single banana curved. Every bunch curved in the same direction. There's clearly something going on here. So let's start with the science, and then we'll get to the part that'll blow your mind. Let me take you back to where bananas actually grow. Forget the grocery store for a minute. Picture a banana plantation in Ecuador, Costa Rica, or the Philippines. The banana plant, and yeah, it's a plant, not a tree, because it doesn't have a woody trunk, can grow up to 20 feet tall. It's basically a giant herb, the largest herb in the world, actually. Your mind blown yet? So here's how it starts. The banana plant grows these huge leaves, and from the center comes this thing called an inflorescence. Sounds fancy, but it's basically a huge purple flower bud that hangs down because of gravity. Makes sense so far, right? Heavy thing hangs down. Basic physics. But then something weird happens. This flower bud has rows and rows of these small flowers arranged in clusters. Each cluster will eventually become a hand of bananas, and each individual banana is called a finger. Now, when these baby bananas first start forming, they're pointing downward, just following gravity like normal fruit would. But bananas have this thing called negative geotropism. Big word, simple concept. Geo means earth, tropism means growth response, and negative means against. So negative geotropism means growing against gravity. Bananas are basically rebels. Here's what actually happens, and this is the cool part. Every growing plant has this hormone called auxin. You don't need to remember that name, but just know it's the chemical that controls how plants grow and which direction they grow in. In most fruits, auxin is distributed evenly, so they just hang down or grow outward evenly. But in bananas, auxin does something different. It concentrates on the lower side of the banana, the side facing the ground. When auxin builds up on one side, that side grows slower than the top side. Think about it like this. Imagine you're pulling a rope, but one side of the rope is being pulled harder than the other. The rope curves, right? Same thing with bananas. The top part of the banana grows faster than the bottom part, and this uneven growth creates the curve. But it's not just random curving. The banana is actively growing upward, trying to reach sunlight. And here's the kicker. This same hormone, auxin, is what makes plants bend toward windows in your house. That banana curve? It's the exact same mechanism that makes your houseplant lean toward sunlight. Nature using the same trick in different ways. See, plants are smarter than we give them credit for. In the wild, in the jungles of Southeast Asia where bananas originally came from, the forest floor is dark. Really dark. If you're a plant trying to survive, you need sunlight to photosynthesize and make food. So the banana plant evolved this strategy where its fruit grows upward, toward the light, even though it starts hanging down. The curve you see in every banana is literally the physical record of this growth pattern. It's the banana reaching for the sun. Each banana starts pointing down, then gradually curves upward over the course of several weeks as it grows and matures. By the time it's ready to harvest, it's pointing almost straight up. In the wild, this upward growth has a real purpose. When bananas grow upward, they're less likely to rot. Think about it. If they stayed hanging down, rain would collect on them, moisture would build up, and fungi or bacteria could attack them more easily. By growing upward, water runs off them instead of pooling. Also, growing upward spaces the bananas out better, giving each one room to grow to its full size. So that's the science. Pretty cool, right? Evolution doing its thing. Auxin working its magic. Bananas reaching for the light. But here's where the story takes a dark turn. Because the bananas we eat today, they're not like the bananas our ancestors ate. Wild bananas were often starchy, squat, and full of hard seeds. There are nearly 1,000 types of bananas out there, in all sorts of shapes and even colors like red and purple. The one we all eat, the Cavendish, is basically a monoculture. Every Cavendish banana in every supermarket in America and Europe is genetically identical. Every single one. They're all clones, and they all curve the exact same way because they all have the exact same genetic programming. This banana wasn't chosen by nature. It was chosen by business. It was picked and mass-produced because it was tough, shipped well, and above all, it was uniform. That predictable size, taste, and yes, its familiar curve made it the perfect global commodity. That uniformity wasn't just for looks. It was a business model. A model that would build an empire so powerful they called it El Pulpo, the octopus, an empire that could topple governments. In 1899, two companies merged to form the United Fruit Company. Today, you know them as Chiquita Brands International. Their goal was simple and wildly ambitious. Take this exotic fruit and put it in every home in America. To do that, they needed more than just a few farms. They needed total control. The United Fruit Company didn't just buy plantations, it built a kingdom. Across Central American countries like Guatemala, Honduras, and Costa Rica, the company built railroads, ports, and telegraph lines. It became the biggest employer, the largest landowner, and in many places more powerful than the actual government. By the 1930s, United Fruit was the single largest landowner in Guatemala. By the 1950s, it controlled over 3.5 million acres of land across Central America. This is where we get the term Banana Republic. It was coined by the writer O. Henry in 1904 to describe nations whose economies were completely dependent on exporting one thing, like bananas, and were therefore dominated by foreign companies. United Fruit loved this dependency. It lobbied for outrageously favorable laws, enjoyed massive tax breaks, and often paid workers in company vouchers instead of actual money. The company's influence was so complete, its tentacles reached into every part of society. The perfect curved banana was becoming a symbol not of nature, but of neo-colonialism. But the octopus doesn't just sit there. When its profits were threatened, it used its tentacles. The most infamous example of this went down in Guatemala in 1954. In 1951, Guatemala had a democratically elected president named Jacobo Arbenz. He kicked off a land reform program, Decree 900, to give unused land to peasant farmers. As it happened, a huge chunk of that unused land belonged to the United Fruit Company, which was intentionally keeping it out of production to kill competition. Arbenz' government planned to take back nearly 400,000 acres, offering to pay exactly what the company had valued the land at on its own tax forms, which, you guessed it, was an absurdly low number. United Fruit was livid. The company launched a massive PR blitz in the U.S., painting President Arbenz as a communist threat. It helped that key members of the Eisenhower administration, like Secretary of State John Foster Dulles and his brother, CIA Director Allen Dulles, had deep professional ties to United Fruit's law firm. So, the CIA got the green light for a covert operation, PB Success. The agency armed, funded, and trained a small rebel force. On June 18, 1954, the rebels invaded. Militarily, they were a joke, but they were backed by a CIA-run radio station broadcasting fake news to stir panic. And U.S. pilots even bombed Guatemala City. President Arbenz was forced to resign, and the democracy was crushed. The coup paved the way for decades of brutal military dictatorships and a civil war that claimed around 200,000 lives, all to protect a banana company's bottom line. And this wasn't a one-off. In 1928, thousands of striking United Fruit workers in Colombia were massacred by the military. The history of the simple yellow banana in our supermarkets is built on a foundation of political meddling and human suffering. But the story doesn't end there. Just as the banana became a symbol of corporate greed, it was also reclaimed by rebels and artists. Its simple, provocative shape made it the perfect symbol for challenging the very systems the banana industry stood for. The most famous example is Andy Warhol's 1967 album cover for the Velvet Underground and Nico. It was just a banana with the words, "Peel slowly and see." Peeling the sticker revealed a flesh-colored banana underneath. It was interactive, suggestive, and turned a boring fruit into an icon of the 60s counterculture. The banana was no longer just a product, it was a statement. Then, in 1973, Polish artist Natalia L.L. created her video series, Consumer Art, which featured a woman suggestively eating a banana. It was a sharp feminist critique of consumerism and the male gaze. Fast forward to 2019. The Polish government ordered the National Museum in Warsaw to remove the artwork, calling it improper. This censorship backfired spectacularly. Protesters flooded the streets to eat bananas in solidarity, and the hashtag #banana selfie went viral as people posted pictures with the fruit to protest government overreach. From Frida Kahlo's paintings to the Guerrilla Girls' protest art, the banana's shape, once standardized for profit, has been twisted, peeled, and reimagined as a powerful cultural weapon. So here's what blows my mind about all of this. That simple curve you see in every banana started as a survival mechanism. Millions of years of evolution taught the banana to reach for the light, to protect itself from rot, to space itself out for maximum growth. It's a built-in drive to survive and thrive. But then humans took that curve and turned it into something else entirely. We selected for uniformity, mass-produced it, and built a corporate empire on top of it. That empire was so powerful, it could overthrow governments and kill hundreds of thousands of people to protect its profits. And then, in a final twist, artists and rebels took that same curve, the symbol of corporate oppression, and turned it into a symbol of defiance, of freedom, of cultural rebellion. Every time you hold a banana, you're holding all of that history. You're holding evidence of evolution, corporate power, political violence, and artistic resistance. That curve represents a plant's will to survive, a company's greed, a government's corruption, and a people's fight for freedom. The banana's curve is the story of how something ordinary becomes extraordinary. It's about how nature creates, how power corrupts, and how culture reclaims. We walk past thousands of small miracles every day without noticing them. But once you start looking, really looking, you see that even the most mundane things carry entire worlds of meaning. The banana's curve is just one example, but it's a perfect one. If you want more hidden stories behind everyday things you've never questioned, hit subscribe. And let us know in the comments. What ordinary object should we uncover next? Because trust me, they all have stories like this.